Hey gang, it's Paul with Stud Pack. Welcome back to our channel. Jordan and I are back here today at one of our main remodel projects, and we have a fantastic video for you today. You could actually call this a follow-up video to the previous one we did on taping and mudding drywall and how to get a flawless finish. There's a ton of tips and tricks in there. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go back and check out that video. It's awesome. Now in today's video, we're not going to be talking about one thing. We're going to actually be talking about quite a few things. So make sure you stay tuned for the whole video, and we promise you, you're going to learn something. All right, I got to get this off my chest and come clean. You guys were right. Not about just one thing, but about a few things. We got a lot of smart people that watch our channel, and we love reading all your comments. So we're going to start this video by showing you what you got right, what we got wrong, what we learned, and how we're going to fix it. The very first thing we want to talk about is our drywall ceiling. A few videos back, you saw us hang the drywall in the new kitchen area. Here's our existing drywall in the dining room area. Now those sheets came together at a joint right here, and that joint was not on a ceiling joist. So we used a 4-inch strip wide of 3/4 inch plywood as backing for that joint. A number of you commented that we were going to get a sag right there because the plywood is unsupported. Now I've used that technique a lot and I've never had a problem, but you are absolutely right on this one. I began to notice the problem. We have this window over here, the sun's coming right in, and I can actually see a shadow. I don't know how well it's going to show up on the video, but it's definitely there. So how bad is the sag? Let's hop up on the ladder and let's show you. All right, I'm up here on the ladder, and Jordan says the shadow is actually showing up pretty good on the video. And it's right here. The last thing we want in this finished kitchen is a shadow on the ceiling. That would drive me crazy. Not only as a contractor, but if it was my kitchen, I wouldn't want to see the shadow. So how bad is it that we need to fix it? Well, check it out. Got my 4-foot level. We're going to come over here in the dining room. It's dead flat. Let's put it over here on your left on the new kitchen drywall. That's dead flat. But here's the bump. I'm going to put the level on there. We got a seesaw, gang. I'm not going to fix that with joint compound. We have a really cool way, maybe a little bit overkill, but we wanted to have some fun today with this repair. So let's head outside and show you our setup. All right, we're outside at our workstation, and I've got a piece of plywood here. We saved a big piece from our demo, so we ripped a piece off of that, 4 inches wide, and this piece is 7 feet long. The ceiling's 10 feet wide, so that's going to be plenty. And we drilled 4 5/16 inch diameter holes 2 feet apart across the length of this board. Why? For one of my favorite pieces of hardware. It's called a T-nut. And these are 1/4 T-nuts. They accept 1/4 bolts. And so we bought some 1/4 threaded rod. I'm gonna flip this over and you're gonna see how it looks. So when we get in the attic, they're gonna be just like this. And we're gonna glue and screw this to the blocking that is supporting our drywall now. And that's where our sag is. So once we have it in the attic like this, we'll put a piece of blocking there, put a nut on it, and it'll pull that whole thing up with Stud Pack precision. Let's put these last 2 in and head back in our favorite spot, the attic. And if you could, gang, before I head up into my favorite spot, please consider subscribing and smash that like button for us. All right, back in our favorite place, an attic in southern Louisiana, and we're getting a little bit of a taste of summer. It is February 10th, pretty nice outside, but pretty warm in the attic. That is one thing we love about the winter in here. The attics are a little bit more bearable. So check out our setup. Here's the blocking that the drywall is attached to. Everything on this side is new drywall. Everything on that side is the original drywall. And I'm saying we got probably a 2-foot span between this 2x6 and that one. Remember, there was a wall here. That's why there's not a joist right there. We put some adhesive on top of our blocking. Here's the piece of plywood we made outside with our threaded studs in it. I'm just gonna put it on top, screw it down, and we're ready for our next step. Breezes are just going away from the last attic I was in. All right, all glued and screwed together. Here's our 2x4s. They're gonna span across the existing joist. They're just gonna sit there. I don't need any fasteners right here. Here's my threaded rod. I'm gonna drill a hole. Put that on top. There. I'll run a nut down there. I'll do all 4. Jordan's gonna go downstairs with the level. I'm gonna start cranking the nut down, pulling up the drywall. When he tells me it's perfect, I'll stop. All right, now you see how it's gonna work? As I crank this nut down, it's gonna pull up on this block that's attached to our backing, and it's gonna pull up the drywall. I think it's gonna be slick, dude. You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Dad, can you tap on the last block so I'm right below it? All right, cool. That's pretty good, actually. Okay. Oh yeah, come up. Very nice. Keep going. One more. Perfect, perfect. Yup.
All right, my first reveal, right? All right, this is great. I can already tell that that shadow is gone. Yeah, that's great, Jordan, good job. The other reason I can tell it's gone is because of this new shadow right here where we have a buildup of drywall compound that hasn't been sanded yet, and that shadow wasn't there because it was being blocked by the low spot ahead of it towards the window. And Jordan said where about right here was where it was worst.
Yeah, that was the worst sagging
point. That's where it tightened the most. So was it worth it for a 1/4 inch, 5/16? In my opinion, absolutely. You know how it is when you're on a job site. You see a shadow there, that's okay. You see something wrong over here by the window, yeah, it's okay. You see something wrong with the plumbing, yeah. But by the time you get to the end of the job, you have all these little things that are just nagging at you. So I'm glad we fixed that one. So let's hop on the ladder, grab a level, and see how well we did. I like that sound. You can tell when a level hits flat, right?
Right.
Beautiful. Nice job, bud. Nice and strong. All right, I'm so glad that's fixed, but at the beginning of the video, we mentioned there was a few things that you guys got right. That was number 1. Let's head in the foyer and show you number 2. Way back in the demo phase, you'll remember this foyer had wallpaper floor to ceiling on all the walls, as well as the hall bath and the master bath. Now, wallpaper on this project fell into 2 categories. It was either impossible to remove, like in the 2 bathrooms, or it was very easy to remove, like in the foyer. In here, it came down in sheets. 5 minutes, we were done. But in the bathrooms, we pulled out all our tricks, used a lot of your comments, trying to remove the wallpaper, but it would not come off. It was destroying the drywall underneath. So we just ripped all the drywall down and started over. And that's kind of how I am. It'd be like putting shingles on a roof and leaving the old shingles underneath. I like to pull out all the old stuff, go with all new. But in that case, I realized skim coating over the wallpaper would be better. In fact, I skim coated this wall because there was a lot of damage to it from removing the wallpaper, and there was some panel molding, chair rail, a lot of nail holes. So I skim coated the whole thing in preparation to put wallpaper back on this wall. Yes, we're putting wallpaper back, but only on this wall, kind of as an accent wall. It's gonna be beautiful. But while I was skim coating that, I realized how easy it was. I did this whole wall in about 10 minutes. I could have done a bathroom in about 30. So to me, that's when I realized we wasted all that time and money pulling drywall down and installing new drywall when we could have just skim coated over it. Now, if you're gonna skim coat over drywall, it has to be that impossible type, right? What we think they did in the bathrooms, it was a pre-pasted wallpaper. And instead of putting water on it to activate the paste on the back of the wallpaper, they put glue on the back. So you had double glue, right? And it was stuck forever. And after that wallpaper removal video came out, a lot of you posted in the comments, hey, Stud Pack, calm down. All you gotta do is skim coat with drywall compound right over the wallpaper. Don't worry about the wallpaper, right? It's stuck there forever. Putting a skim coat over it is not gonna affect it at all, and you will never know. And after I did this wall, I had to agree, so now I've changed my ways. So if you're fighting wallpaper, just skim coat over it and save yourself a bunch of time and money. All right, with all this talk about skim coating, why don't we head back to the hall bathroom? We actually saved a spot that needs to be skim coated, and we wanted to show you because we know a lot of you are gonna have questions about how to skim coat. We also picked up a brand new tool this morning that I've never used before. I saw it on the shelf, said I gotta try it. Plus, we're gonna show you an old tool with a characteristic that you might not know about. Obviously, this isn't the bathroom. Jordan and I wanted to come out here where it's nice and bright and have a little tool talk time with you. When you go to the home center and you're in the drywall section, there's that whole bay of tools, right? And you're gonna see these 2 tools right next to each other. But they are very different and they are very different techniques. This trowel is to be used with a hawk. You can also buy a hawk in that same section in the home center. It's got a handle on it with the flat base, Jordan's gonna put a picture down below if you don't know what a hawk is. The idea is you scrape it off with the trowel and apply it to the wall. We've had somebody comment that if you're not using a hawk, you're not a pro. Well, if I use a hawk, I got mud everywhere because I like to thin it down, and I look like the first time I ever did it. I'm covered in it, and the floor's covered in it, and it's a mess. So I am a pan and knife guy. And I think it's regional too, right? On the West Coast and where we live in the South, everybody uses a pan and a knife. But I know in Canada, and I think up in the Northeast, it's all hawks and trowels. So it just depends on where you live. But this is what I use, but there are some features of the trowel that I love that I incorporated into my knife. Let me show you what I'm talking about. On the box that the trowel comes in, it says it's curved. So let's take this straight edge of the knife and hold it up against the trowel. Can you see that? There's a definite curve to that blade. And there's a definite curve to the spine that the blade is welded to. And the idea is that when you're applying compound, it is thicker in the middle, but it feathers it out on the edges where it's contacting the wall. So I actually incorporated that into my knife. I put a bend in it, about 1/8 of an inch. I experimented until I got it right. And I also filed the corners down just a bit. It helps me to minimize the ridges. So now that we know what a pan and a knife is, let's put some mud in here and head in the bathroom and show you how we skim coat. All right, got our mud in our pan, my 12-inch knife. Now I'm not worried about which way this knife faces just yet. I'm gonna look at that when I do my finish passes. But for right now, let's just get some mud on the wall. Remember how we do it? Get a nice amount of mud on the blade, and I just wipe off the corners. Otherwise it's gonna spill over the edge. I'm gonna start at the bottom. I'm just gonna pull up and flatten the blade as I get a little bit higher. Let me do that again for you. Come over. See that? This mud is the perfect consistency, not spilling at all. I'll go one more. Not very flat around this plumbing. Put some more mud on the wall. Let me get some down here in the corner. I want to cover all that brown paper. All right, so now that the mud is on the wall, I'm going to sight down my blade, and my curve is going this way. So I'm going to turn it around so my curve is this way against the wall. That way these corners don't dig in, and I get these ridges just like that one. I'm going to make a pass in the middle. I'm going to grab my pan and go straight up. I need to apply a little more pressure, because see this right here? I'm too thick. I want it smooth all the way up. You take one more pass. There we go. Nice, huh? Now I'm going to come over here to my right, and the goal is to make another smooth pass with as little of a ridge as I can make. So what I'm going to do, and this is kind of instinctively, I'm going to put pressure on the right side of the blade in my corner, and I'm going to let the left-hand side of the blade kind of float up and minimize that ridge. Let's see how well I do. Not bad, not bad. All right, I'll take that. Now let me do the left side, and it's the opposite, right? I want to feather this side and remove the ridge on this side and not create another ridge. Check it out. Pretty good.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I got to make one more, right? I never know when to stop. All right, that's sandable to me. Yeah, I'd keep going, but since we're filming, I know I just need to stop, right?
Well, yeah, you said you had another tool as well, and isn't the tool just for that?
It is. So it's called a skimming knife. And I've seen these before, but I've never used one. This one's 18, and it's made by Marshalltown. I know there's a company called Level 5. They make them up to 30 inches, I think. So let's try it out. It's got a very well balanced handle right here.
Well, why don't you leave that alone, do this new section,
Okay,
and then just
skip the whole thing?
Yeah.
All right. And as you can see, the corners are rounded over also, just like I rounded over the corners of my 12-inch knife, so you wouldn't get any ridges. All right, dude, you want to check it out?
Yeah, I know you're excited.
I've never done it before, right? Need a little more pressure. Pretty sweet.
It looks like there's one ridge that's inevitable.
Yep.
But
1-2 passes with the sandpaper,
right,
and we'll be fine. And look how little mud it's removing. I'm gonna try it one-handed standing up. I feel like when I'm kneeling down, I don't have my full range of motion. Wow, look at that. That's cool.
Yeah, so you can just apply it in just a matter of minutes, whip this guy out, whoosh,
Yep.
whoosh, whoosh, make a couple passes, and you're done.
Yeah, and if you had a 30-inch one, you'd be flying. And I know a lot of people are going to comment that you can put the compound up with a paint roller. We've tried that and it works, but for small walls like this, I like the 12-inch blade. All right, that was an extremely brief demonstration of how I skim coat, but don't worry, we're going to do an extensive video in the near future about skim coating a whole house. You just got to practice, 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 and you can do this. Now, before we end this video, we got to show you a tip that a subscriber left down in the comments, and when I read it, I was like, of course. It was brilliantly simple, so let me grab some tools. We're going to head over to that corner, and I'm going to show you this tip that's unbelievable. So here's our last tip. In a previous video, we mentioned the use of tearaway bead when you're working with drywall. We used it on the end of a wall over there on an outside corner where we had paneling on one corner, drywall on the other. It made a sharp, crisp edge for us. And we said it's also a good time to use it on these inside corners. But if you were commenting and said, all you need there is some paper tape, because you know how hard it is to find stuff these days, especially a product like tearaway bead. So here's how it works. You just get a piece of paper tape and you put a crease in it, just like you were doing a regular inside corner. I'm gonna put some mud here, just like that. Put the paper tape up there, and you kind of see where I'm going. I'm gonna finish it and check it out. We basically made our own tearaway bead. Once you finish coating this right here, take a utility knife and cut this flange off. And this is the flange that's going to protect your wall, your tile, whatever it is, so you don't get drywall compound on it. The other great spot to use this is on a drywall return on windows. So in a lot of houses, you have a drywall return around your windows right here. On this one, we have wood, but we're going to use this as our example. Same thing. Put your paper tape right here. Finish off your drywall return, and it's the same thing. This paper flange is going to protect your window and prevent you from getting drywall mud over your window, especially if you just bought new ones or you have a wood window and they'd be hard to clean. So that's a great tip on just using paper tape as tearaway bead. Again, just put it on. Once it's all dry, make a nice sharp cut with a razor blade, caulk it if you want to, and it's going to be beautiful. Man, I'm feeling great about today's video. We got that sag taken care of. That was keeping me up all night. Didn't know how I was gonna fix it, but it's done. We got all the skim coating done. Now all we have to do is a little bit of sanding and texture this project.
A little bit of sanding.
A little bit, I promise. Now as far as texturing goes, we're gonna show you on a big scale and we're gonna show you on a little scale. That's gonna be our next video on this project. Don't miss out. So if your like button is sagging, just like that drywall was, you know what to do. Get a piece of threaded rod to support it, smash it for us. Drop us some of your awesome comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you on our next video.